Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will, ease my mind profoundly, and then my soul will sing a song, a blessed song of love eternal. Gentle darkness, soft and still, bring your quiet to me. Darkness, soothe my weary eyes, that I may see more clearly. When my heart with sorrow cries, comfort and caress me, and then my soul may hear a voice, a still small voice of love eternal. Darkness, when my fears arise, let your peace flow through me.
Happy New Year. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Waynesboro and to this online service. Next Sunday, January 8th, we will resume in-person services at our fellowship hall on Pine Avenue in Waynesboro. We hope that you will join us then and as often as possible throughout 2023. We are a welcoming congregation, accepting of all without regard for gender identity or sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, religious background, economic status, or physical challenges. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you are on life's journey, welcome. Today is the first day of the year, as well as the 8th day of Christmas. Today our calendars catch up to the winter solstice, and as we continue to move into the light, we also move into a new year, always a somewhat unsettling moment. As we pause here on day one, we can look back to the joys and sorrows of the year just concluded, and ahead to the possibilities and perils of our next trip around the sun. And we can consider how to bring light to the world and a little enlightenment to ourselves. My name is Sharon Van Name, and I serve as the leader of the membership team. I'm happy to be participating in this online service along with Mary Beth Nolde, who among other things is the coordinator of our fellowship's Art on the Walls program, and Anne Armentrout, who is the leader of the worship arts team and the person who put together today's service. As we start this new year, I wish you a happy one, full of light and kindness. I know that I plan on trying to spread a little more kindness myself, but primarily I want to focus on noticing the kindness around me. It's so easy to think of our world as being a little uglier than it has been, but the truth is that there is lots of kindness. We just need to notice it. And so I wish you a very happy new year full of light and love and kindness.
As we have the lighting of the chalice, whose light we hope will help us see our way from the ending of the old year into the beginning of the new, I would like to read these words from the traditional rituals of an earth-centered religion. Although it is now dark, I come seeking light. In the chill of winter, I come seeking life. I call upon fire that melts the snow and warms the hearth. I call upon fire that brings the light and makes new life. I call upon fire to purify me with your flames. This light is a boundary between positive and negative. That which is outside shall stay without. That which is inside shall stay within. I call upon fire that melts the snow and warms the hearth. I call upon fire that brings the light and makes new life. I call upon fire to purify me with your flames. Like fire, light and love will always grow. Like fire, wisdom and inspiration will always grow. I call upon fire that melts the snow and warms the hearth. I call upon fire that brings the light and makes new life. I call upon fire to purify me with your flames. Fire of the hearth, blaze of the sun, cover me in your shining light. I am awash in your glow, and tonight I am made pure.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woyaya, 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 woyaya. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Woyaya, 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 woyaya,
I Know How Far by Jan Richardson. I know how far you would walk to offer what is needed, the lengths you would go to provide for those you hold dear. I know how every road you travel begins in the hollow of your chest, in the chambers of your heart. How you measure your steps by the rhythm of your pulse. How you find your way across terrains no map could ever show. No distance, no barrier, no expanse of time would keep you from propelling yourself toward the place where your heart has already arrived. But for a moment, for one small space of time, could you pause and in the quiet wait for the gifts that have been gathering around you, the treasures borne by those who have been traveling to welcome you since the moment you left home?
precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Our prayer for this morning is by Aaron Stockwell. In this new year, let us be amazed. Let us search for new life and hope in our midst. Let us nurture creativity in every form. Let us be reminded that new insights of the universe are always being made. In this new year, let us be amazed. Ours is a caring congregation, coming together with both joys and sorrows. When we are together in person, we speak our joys and sorrows aloud so that we may have sharers in our happiness and supporters in our sadness. But since we cannot be together in person, let us remember our connections to each other and to all things, and pause for a moment of silence. But this being New Year's Day, may I ask each of you watching this online service to consider finding a time to take a pause, to gift yourselves with some quiet reflection. And may I suggest some questions that you might wish to ponder in your heart. What gave you the most joy in the year just past? What caused you the profoundest sorrow in the year just past? What, as you consider upon which you are now embarked, causes you the most fear or dread? And what about the year ahead fills you with the greatest anticipation of pleasure or happiness?
Strength of water takes on many forms, just as each of us has a unique and necessary strength that we bring to our community and the work of love. Take a moment now to drop down into the deep wellspring of your own spirit and bathe yourself in the strength that is the groundwater of your person. Are you a roaring fall wearing rock away with sheer force of will? Are you a small sliver of water in a crevice, breaking it open slowly and steadily? Are you buoyant, like a great salt lake, practiced at holding yourself or others aloft? Are you tenacious like the mountain stream, finding your way down and around and through every obstacle you face? Are you still and calm like the pond at daybreak, radiant peace found by your shores? Are you in touch with hidden depths, pulling from a vast well deep within? Do you soothe like the steam rising from a cup of tea. Do you dissolve away stubborn muck like dishwater? Do you soften and smooth the edges like a creeping fog? Do you clear away distraction like a cleansing rain? Do you roll with the ebb and flow, with the rhythm of the ocean waves? Settle your mind upon the strength, the power that is yours. Draw that strength into your heart, draw it up into your soul, and there find peace. As we endure difficult times together, we need each of our power, each of our resilience, each of our love to make us whole.
Good morning, Happy New Year, and welcome to January. January gets its name from the Roman god Janus. He is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, dualities, doorways, passages, frames, and endings. Talk about multitasking. But hardly anything compared to the god of monotheism who has to be in charge of everything. Janus is usually depicted as having two faces, one youthful and one aged, one that look in the opposite directions, past and future, beginning and end. Now there is much, much more that could be said about Janus, both historically and theologically, but we must move along. Did you know that January wasn't always the first month of the year? The ancient Roman calendar had only 10 months. No January, no February. And the year began in March. Now, given the vernal equinox is in March, the coming of spring seems more like a new beginning. So starting the year in March makes a kind of sense. Still, January 1st is closer by 10 to 12 days to the winter equinox and the beginning of the return of light and warmth than March 1st is to the vernal equinox. Go figure. Anyhow, around the year 700 BCE, the Roman king Numa Pompilius is said to have added to the calendar the winter months of January and February, and they came right after December. So the new year still began in March. But then, in 154 BCE, a rebellion forced the Roman Senate to change the start of the year to January 1st. It took a while for this change to catch hold, like a couple hundred years. In 45 BCE, Julius Caesar introduced a calendar system, the Julian calendar, and added 10 days to the year, created the leap day, and saw January expanded from 29 to 31 days. So here we are, first day of January, the first day of 23 CE. But January 1st is not just the holiday we know as New Year's Day, with its traditions of making resolutions, holding open houses, and eating all sorts of food with all sorts of auspicious powers. It is also the 8th day of Christmas, the day with those 8 maids a-milking, which supposedly symbolizes the Beatitudes, which is to say, the blessing of the poor in spirit, those who mourn, the meek, those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, the merciful, the pure in heart, the peacemakers, and those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. January 1st is the day on which the solemnity of Mary, the Mother of God, is celebrated. This celebration can be traced back to as early as 431 CE. Over time, however, other festive days for Mary were placed on the calendar, and so January 1st came to be considered as the celebration of Jesus' birth, or as it is more formally known, the Feast of the Circumcision of Christ. According to Genesis, God commanded Abraham to be circumcised, an act to be followed by all his male descendants on the 8th day of life, symbolizing the covenant between God and the Jewish people. And in case you were wondering if or how that covenant is affirmed for girl babies, it is with a naming celebration at the child's family synagogue, and no scalpels involved. But there's a lot more holidays and national celebrations on January 1st, ranging from the whimsical to the spiritual. Haiti and Sudan celebrate their Independence Day, while in Cuba they mark the triumph of the revolution. The 1st of January is also National Bloody Mary Day and National Hangover Day, which seemingly fit them together as nice companions on the calendar. Another interesting pair of days worth noting on January 1st are Copyright Law Day, which commemorates a set of laws that ensure the creative endeavors are not misappropriated, and Public Domain Day, when copyrights to certain works expire, mostly 70 years after the death of the last known author or creator, and the work becomes freely accessible to everyone. Then there is the rather oddly named Bonza Butler Day, which is a monthly celebration that occurs when the number of the month coincides with the number of the day. Thus, New Year's Day is number 1 day in the number 1 month. Bonza Butler Day is a reason to celebrate a month for what it is, a month. And that sort of takes us back to the Romans and their machinations and manipulations of the calendar. There are still more celebratory occasions connected with the first day of the year that could be mentioned, but I want to end with 3 that should appeal particularly to Unitarian Universalist. The Universal Hour of Peace, Global Family Day, and the World Day of Peace, all of which celebrate the work we do and the hope we have for creating the beloved community in which everyone is cared for and poverty, hunger, and hate are absent. So let us light our candles and say our prayers and then go forth into the world, striving to be a blessing to all who share our blue boat home.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in a beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Accidental Monks by Alicia Jo Rabins. Sometimes I'm glad to retreat from the world. Sometimes I can't bear my longing for it. Sometimes I'm certain I've grown wiser. Sometimes I know less than ever. Sometimes I think I could do this forever. Sometimes I think I can't last another minute. Sometimes I wonder which is real, this life or the one before. I live with other accidental monks. We study the holy books of love and distance. Some days, love across distances. Some days, the distances inside love. We never meant to be monks, my love, but here we are. Not the first to find ourselves inside a sudden solitude. Walking these stone corridors, navigating this open sea, praying to learn the simplest and most difficult lesson: how to move through the days with grace.
Dona, Nobis, Pacem, Pacem. Dona, Nobis, 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 Pacem, 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 Pacem. Dona, Nobis, Pacem.
As we go forth to take up the burden of another year, a year in which we shall laugh and we shall weep, in which we shall hope and we shall fear, may we also strive for justice, that it may roll down like waters and work to create peace like an ever-flowing stream. Peace and blessed be, and Happy New Year.